Look, anything can be manipulated. Like, any story arc can be created to a degree. It's whether the cast members go along with it or not.
Okay.
That's really up to them. We'll be going to Cape York, we'll be going to Simpsons Desert, we'll be going to Fraser, Morden, basically everywhere that's cool around Australia. And I just found out that I'll be sleeping in a swag.
Wow.
While the cast members are in $500,000 vans. So
How does that make sense?
I get all the time, oh my God, Jodie, I have got the best idea. Can I just sit down and talk to you for a moment? And I'm like, okay.
Go on.
Sure.
They
give
get
it
their
to
phone
me.
up with their notes
Oh,
and,
no.
you know.
Well, Dos, we're back here on the, well, not so sunny Gold Coast this
Bit of
morning.
rain the last couple
bit
of
of
days.
rain, but we're very excited to welcome our next guest, Jodie Burden. Welcome to the dos&d show.
Oh, I'm excited to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
It's hard to really know where to start because your TV career goes back, quite a few years now, but you're now I guess, a producer. Maybe do you want to share a little bit about what you're doing these days in TV?
Sure. So, yes, I'm now a producer. So I do casting producing, also field producing, story producing. I've worked on over 30 documentaries and reality TV series. Basically, if you named it, I've probably worked on it in some capacity. So anything from Married at First Sight to Farmer Wants a Wife to Aussie Gold Hunters, Gogglebox, basically all of them.
You've done it all.
I love a couple of those shows.
Yeah.
We've actually been watching Farmer Wants a Wife at the moment.
Really?
Yeah, it's a
You
good
and
show.
Mrs.
Yeah, it's a good show.
Well, we're going to dive into all of it, but I suppose in layman's terms for the listeners and myself, I'll put my hand up right here. When you say producer, what exactly are some of the roles you play? So what is your day-to-day role?
Sure. So again, it depends what kind of producer you are. As a casting producer, your primary goal is just to find the cast for these TV shows. As a field producer, you're that producer who's out on the field while we're filming, asking the cast members questions, doing what we call vox pops, doing master interviews, all that. And then a story producer is a little bit more upline again, where you're creating the story and the story arcs.
Wow.
So with casting, for example, I'm sure you get the question a lot, and people are always, unsure when watching reality TV. It's casted very well, or is it an audition thing, or are you actually going out and picking people? How does it work?
Look, I think it's a little bit of both. So generally speaking, for those big shows, you'll always see when it's wrapping up on TV, you'll see a apply now for Married at First Sight or apply now for Gogglebox, something like that. So then people can go online, they can apply for those shows, and it's quite an in-depth online application that they send through. Those online applications come through to the casting producers. We go through them all and we choose who are probably the best talent to do, I guess, what we call Zoom auditions with. Once we've done Zoom auditions, they get shortlisted by the network, not by us as casting producers. The network will then shortlist them and do what we call a face-to-face audition. So sometimes they're group auditions and sometimes it's just you and the head of the network's meeting.
So be honest with us. What do you actually look for? So for our budding reality TV stars out there, because obviously when you get auditions or you get, what was the word you used?
She said there was a few different stages of audition.
Yeah. But with applications, that's the word I was looking for. So when you get the
Yes.
applications through, what are you looking for in those initial stages? Because it's not like, I assume, like in a movie where you've got all their credentials, what they've worked on, what
Sure.
they've done. What do you look for?
Look, we always get a brief of what we're searching for. So generally speaking, in any TV show, we're always looking for big characters.
Yes.
So those people that just pop. So you'll be watching them when you're looking at these online applications and you just want to keep watching them.
Yep.
That's the number one goal. After that, we're looking for people who fit those briefs as well. So for a show at Married at First Sight, for example, you're looking for people who the network might really, really like someone, and she might be a 35-year-old female who's never had a relationship before. So they then start pinpointing somebody who the experts have said this is what this person really needs.
I see. Yeah.
Yes. So that's how that works.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. There's sometimes as well where a network or a production company may ask you to go and do street casting. I haven't done that in a very long time. So street casting is sometimes just going out there to clubs, pubs, anywhere public and just getting the word out. Hey, look, we're auditioning for this. We're looking for new cast members. Are you interested? Giving them a pamphlet. Maybe even taking their details on a phone and sending it through to the network as well if they're ready to sign up right there.
That's interesting. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a show like Maths, there's obviously so many different, I don't want to say characters because they're real people, but is that something you guys consider too, is we need to fit, I don't know, is there the funny guy, the comedian that's going to provide one part of entertainment? Is there the drama queen who provides another part of the show? Is there certain elements or roles you look for when filling a cast?
It depends what the brief is.
Yeah.
Look, I've cast for Maths for over 6 years and I don't think there's ever been look for a comedian. It's basically just those big characters that we're looking for and also their background of how long they've been single for, what they're looking for, are they genuine people, etc.
You're not going out there finding a villain in particular. You know,
There's always a villain.
Look, there's always a villain, but I guess, and I'm not saying Maths do this, but I have worked in other companies where it might say somebody who is happy to say it exactly how it is.
Yes.
Someone who's not afraid of confrontation. Something like that would be in their brief.
Yeah.
Well, there's obviously two parts to it because obviously there needs to be ratings. People need to watch, and I understand there has to be hooks and drama and all that sort of stuff. But in post-production, you don't have to name the show or anything, but have you seen where certain people or characters or contestants have been vilified, for lack of a better word? Because you hear a lot of them whinge about it. They say, I've been made out to be a villain.
Many of them whinge about it. And I am going to go on record here saying a lot of those people act like that in front of the cameras. They might have had something to drink, maybe it's very heightened emotions when you're in an experiment like that. And how they usually would act in everyday life is not how they're acting in front of the TV because they've got heightened emotions, things are happening, they're getting asked questions all the time, so they might just implode a little bit more. And then they watch it back and they're like, oh, that's not me. I would never have done that. But they did do it. I can guarantee they did it because we're there, we're watching it, like when it happens. So anyone who says I was edited a certain way, there's only so much editing that can be done. It was said by those cast members. It might have been in that same context, but it has been said by them.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to refer to an episode of Farmer Wants a Wife, right? I watched last week.
I haven't watched it, I'm sorry.
That's
okay.
really watch it, don't you?
Well, when it's on, we'll
I
put
didn't
it
know
on.
about this.
And I'm not telling the
Are
world.
you from a farm? Is this
No,
what
I'm not.
Him. No chance. I'd love
Is
to see
this why you
Dawson.
invited me so I can cast you on the next Farmer Wants a Wife?
No, my girlfriend won't like that. But we laughed our heads off at this bit, and it probably happens on quite a few different shows when it's like there's the four farmers and they're all sitting down at a dinner table at each of their houses, and they all get a text message at the same time, and the text message is, you know, so-and-so wants us four farmers to go and meet up and there's some big news.
Yeah.
How well, like they're all perfectly sitting around the table having dinner and then this text come through. How natural and organic are some of those moments, or are there parts of the show that are purely not necessarily scripted, but the scene is created for the actor TV? Yeah.
Correct. Yes, of course, we need to have story arcs when it comes to reality TV. You can't just have people sitting around just fluff all the time and hoping that something happens. You got to remember that these productions, they cost a lot of money. So obviously there would have been, hey, at this dinner party tonight, we're going to be sending a text to them. They wouldn't have told the farmers that. They would have said, you'll be getting a text. They wouldn't say what it was about because reality TV is all about those honest, real reactions at the time.
So what happens when you've got a cast and for whatever reason, once you start filming, that those people aren't necessarily living up to what you imagine they would live up to? So they're not creating anything that's engaging or entertaining or authentic.
Less airtime.
Is that
Simple as that.
Do you try to boot them out? Like, or do you try,
I don't think you can you?
Can you
wouldn't-
manipulate games or?
Look, anything can be manipulated. Like any story arc can be created to a degree. It's whether the cast members go along with it or not.
Okay.
That's really up to them. And that happens all the time. Somebody who might pop in an audition, they could be amazing. Production could be like, oh, this is going to be our main character.
Yep.
And then the second that those cameras start rolling, suddenly you have cast members who become aware that this is going to suddenly be shown to Australia. And do I want to be perceived a certain way?
Yeah.
I've seen it happen so many times. So that can certainly happen. Then they just get less airtime, really. If it's like anything, if anyone's boring, no one wants to watch it, do they?
Yeah.
Most people who watch reality TV, they get behind it because, number one, either the drama, number two, because they're actually invested in these stories, these backstories of these people for some reason. And no one can get invested in somebody who is boring and somebody who's not being real in front of a camera.
Yeah. Okay.
When casting for a show like this, I think in today's day and age, it's pretty well documented, or you can see it, that some people choose to go on these shows because of the public profile it creates for them afterwards. So the social media following aspect of it.
Yes.
Can you see through that when auditioning people? Like, can you sometimes have the awareness to go, this person isn't in it for the actual reason of the show, the purpose of the show, whether it's to fall in love or be in a relationship, and when coming to that decision, can it be dictated off that? Like, can you go, they're in it for the influence aspect of it? Do you say no to people like that, or do you want someone who wants to be invested heavily into the storyline of the show?
Well, you always want somebody who's invested in the storyline of the show. As a producer, you never want to work with a cast member who's like, no, I'm just not doing this. So it's easy for me to tell who's genuine and who's not when I'm casting. But at the same point, even if they're not genuine in whether they're looking for love, like Farmer Wants a Wife, if they're still big characters, like we're still going to watch them, aren't we?
100%, yeah.
This episode of the dos&d show is brought to you by our good friends at Fleet Plant Hire Solutions.
Well, we're up here on the Gold Coast, a different studio, but one thing that always remains the same is the support from Fleet Plant Hire Solutions, the very best in the business.
Now, when I think of earth moving, the number one earth moving equipment company in Australia, mind you, in my opinion, it's Fleet Plant.
I don't think it's just your opinion, mate. It's my opinion and everybody watching too. Now, if you want a bit more information about them, visit www.fph.com.au. Get involved with Chris and the team today.
Back to the episode with Jodie Burden.
What do you have to sign off for when you go on a reality TV show? I know they're all different, but generally speaking, what are some of the rules and regulations people sign off on before they enter a show?
I think that changes, and that's something that I'm not 100% aware of.
Okay.
I know that so the way that I got into producing, I was a reality TV person beforehand. And I know that what I signed off then, and that was with Channel 9, it was a lot. And it was really hard because one of the things that we had to do, and I went on a show where it was all about love. So it was me and my husband at the time. We weren't allowed to be seen out in public together. Now that's hard. And that was for a good 8 months.
Wow.
Because it has to air.
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. So as soon as we finished filming, it was probably about 5 to 6 months before it started airing, and then that 2 months afterwards.
So how do they threaten you that if a photo is taken or something that how do they regulate that kind of?
I've never
police
been
it?
threatened.
No, that's probably the wrong word, but
Look, you just get a nice little phone call just to say, hey guys, just making aware, like somebody did see you out, and obviously that's not what we want. So can we
Okay.
just make sure it doesn't happen in the
Okay.
future? That's
Yep.
the only thing I've ever received when I did reality
Sure.
TV.
So the show, do you want to maybe share a little bit about that might have been your start in reality TV, now being a producer?
Yeah.
You're a contestant. Maybe share a bit more detail about the show.
Oh yeah, 100%. I never thought that I'd be working in reality TV, and I went on a reality TV show 7 years ago, so quite a long time ago now. At the time, I was very apprehensive whether I was going to do it or not. In fact, me and my husband at the time, we pulled out like 3 times because we were that apprehensive. It was a brand new structured show, so we didn't actually know what we were signing up to.
And this is the last resort.
It
for
was
those
the
listening,
last resort. Yeah, no one will remember it, but yes.
Just for those that are wondering.
Yeah, I think the tagline was 5 real couples trying to save real love. I'm obviously divorced now, so it didn't really work for me. But saying that, I did that show and absolutely loved it. I got on so extremely well with the other cast members. I got on really well with the crew, and in particular, I got on fantastically with my producer, who basically lived with us 24/7. I couldn't have asked for a better producer. In fact, even to this day, she is one of my best friends.
Wow.
We've been through so much together, and it's because of her that I work in TV now. She started her own production company after that over in LA and basically taught me from the ground up. When I was on The Last Resort, I was just so interested in how it all came about. Like, it was just so interesting for me. And again, I had a really good experience, so I wanted to continue down that track, not in front of the TV again, but behind it, and just, do all the creative stuff.
Probably a bit more of a personal question, but was it genuinely like the name of the show, The Last Resort, in your marriage at the time? Was that how it was for you guys? It was like, this is a chance to, like, did you see the show and think, let's apply? Is that the way it was?
Oh my gosh, the way that we applied. So I had maybe 2 or 3 wines, I'm not going to lie, on a Friday night after watching, I don't know, some TV show, and it came up, are you in marriage crisis? Do you need to get your love back? You can come to this amazing island in Fiji, rah, and I was like, yes, this sounds great. I want to go to Fiji. Anyway, and then I started applying, but I had a few drinks. I actually didn't know it was a TV show. I thought it was just
retreat.
Yes, 100%, because that's how it was sold on the ad. It was sold as an ad. And then I got halfway through the application and then I realized, hang on, this is a TV show. And I didn't fill out the rest of the application. I just left it. I'm not even joking. I got a phone call that morning from a casting producer saying, hey, Jodie, we have been looking into you. We saw you started your application. We'd love to come and meet with you.
So you didn't even finish the application. They just saw you started.
Didn't even finish the application. I think I'd uploaded a photo of me and my husband at the time and had started filling it out. And the beginning of the application was asking questions, what was wrong with the marriage or your relationship. And my issue with my relationship was we were in a sexless marriage. So for them, and it was sexless because he didn't want to have sex with me. So for them, they've probably looked at it now as a casting producer and gone, this is great. When does the woman want to have sex and the man doesn't?
Yeah.
Like, there must be more to this story. So they basically chased us and sent a producer from Sydney, flew them up to meet with us face to face 2 days after.
Wow.
That application hadn't even been filled out completely.
So how does that conversation then go with your then husband?
Well, they called him because I'd put both of our phone numbers at the top of the application because that's what it said. He rang me at work. He's like, hey, I just got the most bizarre phone call from Channel 9. They are looking at us going on a reality TV show to get our marriage back. And I was like, yeah, they just called me as well. And he was like, what is going on? I'm like, I don't know, but maybe we should just stay open to it. Like, they're going to fly someone up to speak to us. We may as well find out what's going on. And yeah, so that's how that all rolled around.
So did the actual show itself, the purpose of the show was to obviously rekindle the love in your marriage. Did that work for yourself personally at the time?
Look, at the time, I finally had sex while I was on the island, so that's exciting.
Wasn't filmed, was it? Jeez.
Actually, I think there might have been,
Just a cut of the toes or something?
I think it was, we were in a bath and then suddenly they walked out and then I think there was fireworks on the beach.
How romantic.
So that's one of my questions. When you sign off on these things, do you have to sign off in case it, well, a lot of these reality shows are obviously around love and sex. And,
Sure.
So do you have to sign off that I'm okay being filmed? Or the camera's supposed to pan away ASAP?
Look, I think the cameras are meant to pan away ASAP. There are rules in TV that we can't just be putting, unless it's a show like Big Brother or something, secret cameras in rooms.
Okay.
Because of that privacy situation.
Okay.
So every cast member needs to have a safe place to go. So whether that's in their own room or whatnot, where they're not being filmed 24/7.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're aware. There were, again, it was my producer, a cameraman, and a soundy who were there when we were in the bath, and I think we were wearing, I might have been topless, but like you couldn't see anything because it was a bubble bath.
Yeah.
So they allude to the fact that
Yeah.
obviously we've just had sex. They get that final shot, and then
Gotcha.
there were fireworks on the beach afterwards to be like, yay, finally she got some action. Woo.
Wow. Oh, well, you talked about the relationship you had with the producer on
Yeah.
that show. So I'm interested now, and we were just talking off air a little bit, like when you're dealing with people's lives and people thrown into a situation that's
Yes.
not normal and they're experiencing it normally for the first time, and you said people need a safe place to go. What happens when people actually do have a bit of a meltdown? Because I know there's rules in some of them that you can't have a phone, you can't have contact with the
Sure.
outside world.
Sure.
How do you deal with people's emotions and feelings and when they like they're breaking down?
Yeah, look, networks, they are actually committed to these cast members, as in their mental health. It's a very big thing for networks. On every single production that I've worked on, there is a great mental health team there available, and there's always a psychologist on set at all times.
Wow.
So if anybody is feeling a little bit overwhelmed or whatnot, they're able to have that time with the psychologist to
Yep.
see how they're feeling and how they want to continue forward.
Okay.
It's interesting because, like we touched on earlier about what they're portrayed as, because you also see those shots of in certain shows where what's the shot like that? What's the shot called when you've got the person one-on-one and it's just face to camera and they're kind of talking about what's happened? What do you
A
call
master
that?
interview or a vox pop?
Maybe
Yeah,
like
so
during the
there's-
show.
Yeah, so there's two. So we do master interviews, which is generally sit down where we're asking them, questions, because in reality TV shows, they're narrating their own story
Yeah.
to a degree. And then we do voxies, which is where we pull them aside. Maybe they've been at a dinner party or something, and we quickly pull them aside and ask them questions about what's just happened.
Yeah, so that's what I'm thinking of, because
Yeah.
you see on certain shows when they're almost like, is that it? Can I leave now? Like, because they're
Yeah.
obviously emotional in the
Yeah.
moment. But when watching, you almost feel like, as a viewer, it almost looks like they're getting poked
Yeah.
and pushed because they're getting emotional and getting frustrated.
Yeah, again, they do get emotional and they do get frustrated. And what I was saying to you guys before we were recording is when you're on a reality TV show, it's such a heightened experience. You are taken away from your everyday life. You were thrown suddenly into a circumstance where you're followed by cameras. You've got soundies, you've got a producer, you've got people who are around you all the time. You're probably doing something completely different, like dating someone. You might have been single for ages. And then once those emotions arise, what then happens is when we're doing those voxies, sometimes people just go, I just can't talk about this right now. I just need to think about what I'm about to say. It's actually quite smart.
Absolutely. Very
Because
smart.
a lot of people, like in any everyday or relationships, like you don't want to just implode and go crazy. You want to think about what you say before you say it. And I think it's very important that if you go on a reality TV show, you always need to be aware of that. I say that to anybody who I've cast and anyone that I've worked with. Just be aware of what you say. Think about it before you react.
Do you recommend going on reality TV? So if you've got two daughters, right? If
Yeah.
they came to you at a time and said, hey, I'm thinking of applying for a show, would you
Sure.
say, hey, that's a great thing to do? Or would you say, I'd actually rather steer away from that?
Look, these days, and I remember reading a article that said that teenagers these days, 80% of them, when they're asked what do they want to do for a living, they've said reality TV star. Like
Wow.
that is scary.
Yeah.
That is so scary. But look, again, it can open doors in many different ways. I just think that if it's my daughters, I would tell them the same advice that I would give anyone that I put on TV. And that is, okay, enjoy it because this only ever really happens to like one in, 100,000 people.
Yes.
So enjoy the experience, but be aware of what you're doing and that your actions are being recorded.
Good
When it
advice.
comes to alcohol on set, right? You see on shows where, and it almost looks alcohol. Is the word fused? Like, what's the
Yeah,
word?
yeah.
Fueled.
Fueled.
Alcohol fueled. When you see, if it's an argument around the table, or they're sitting around a fire, or people are pulling each other. Like, hey, can we have a chat? I always laugh at that. Like when
Yeah.
they just pull everyone across and have a chat. How many drinks are they allowed during a certain sitting? Because there are rules and regulations around that, isn't there?
There really is. It's quite heavy now. In fact, producers need to do a whole, what's it called? RSA. Yeah,
RSA.
we have to do RSAs now so that we're aware of how much our cast members are drinking at any one time. So it's nothing more than generally 3 drinks, and it's 1 drink an hour
Wow.
because of that.
And like the other thing we hear about too is obviously there's some shows where you're literally fighting for a cash prize. That's the reward. That's what everyone's going for. But if people are expected to leave their jobs or go into this set for 4 to 6 weeks or even longer, do you pay them for their time?
Everyone that I have worked with on any of the shows are paid not as an employee, but they're given what we call a reimbursement or
Like the doll.
yeah, well, kind of. So they get a certain amount of money, but it's not taxed because of that.
Okay.
So it's not a taxed amount. It's just, okay, so if you had to pay for your mortgage, you had to pay for this. Generally speaking, they'll sit down and go, all right, how much is all of this? And then they'll go, okay, well, we can pay you $700 a week. That can go towards any of your expenses. Everything else is paid for while you're here on set. I mean, every production company is different, however.
Sure.
But they do try and give that, obviously, cash to those people so that they can get through with their living and whatnot. So it's really up to the person. You've got to sit there and go, oh, is it going to be beneficial for me? Is it going to be beneficial for me financially? Is it going to be beneficial for me personally? What am I going to get out of this? And is it worth it?
Yep.
This might be a really silly question, but are the marriages on MAFS legitimate? Like, are they signed off by, it's a real wedding, it's a real ceremony, and they actually get married and they sign the marriage
It's a
certificate?
commitment ceremony.
Commitment.
Yeah,
okay.
it's a commitment ceremony. I don't think we'd be able to marry people. Like, can you imagine how angry people would be? Like,
But what great TV, because I think it's
great
real
TV.
marriage.
Well,
Like,
it's a commitment ceremony, so it's very similar.
Yeah.
it's just not legalized.
Yeah.
Which is good because it's for TV at the end of the day. Like, we don't want to just be marrying anyone.
Yeah, for sure.
So I would like you to, like, looking at all the shows that you've either produced, or actually, even if you haven't been part of them at all, in terms of just pure entertainment concepts, what are maybe the top 3 reality TVs you see in terms of concept and entertainment value?
That I enjoy to watch?
Well, just like as a producer that you might enjoy it, but you might also look at it and go, that is just an unbelievably great concept or it's original or whatever.
Look, Married at First Sight is a great show. It rates the best out of any reality TV show. I think it's over 1 million viewers a night. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It really is. And it's great because of the drama. I think as the show has gone on, there's more and more drama every year, which then comes into your question from before, are these people genuine? I find that they're probably less genuine now that the show is evolving, but you do have those genuine people on it as well.
And you do now see some of the couples that have come from these shows and they're married and have kids and stuff now.
100%. It can work.
Yeah.
It can work in any instance. If you're with somebody that you're attracted to in the beginning and you're in something like that, like an experiment, obviously feelings can grow, so it can work.
Yeah. Do you prefer the more romantic storylines or do you prefer the more like Survivor game show kind
You're
of?
asking a divorced woman. I hate all love. No, I'm kidding. I love Survivor. Survivor's a great concept, again, because you've got the drama, but you've got the challenges as well. I think it's also a good family-friendly show, Survivor, because it shows, like, you can work hard, and you can get something.
Yes.
So Survivor, Married at First Sight, and what's another one that I really like? Isn't it? I don't actually watch TV often.
I don't. I mean, you wouldn't want to take your work home with you, I assume. If you're spending your day on it.
I don't have the time. Like, sometimes, and when we work in production, we are working 90-hour weeks. Like, it's crazy. They're big, big hours for us. And you always have cast members that are exhausted as well, but so are the producers and so are the crew members, because we've been up even earlier than the cast members, and we have to go right through to the end. So they can be really big days.
Yeah.
Well, what is a typical day? So say on your last project, as an example, your last reality show, what was your routine like? What time do you wake up? What time are you on set? How does it all work for you as the producer?
Yeah, look, that one was a little bit different because I basically lived with the girls 24/7, so I I didn't really sleep that much on that show because I was just taking care of the girls. But generally speaking, most...
Are you allowed to say what that show was or no?
No,
yeah.
only because it hasn't aired
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
So I'll keep that one.
Yep.
Warner Brothers,
Yep,
but
yep,
yeah. Generally speaking, as producers, now they're bringing it down to we only should be working that 10 hours. Anything over that, we try not to do. So,
Get a lunch break?
yeah, of course,
yeah.
of course. And I tell you what, the catering on these places is amazing.
Worth it?
I just came off of, at Christmas time, I'm a celeb, get me out of here. And I tell you what, I reckon I put on 3 kilos
Really?
purely because they're buffet meals. Like someone
Yeah.
else is cooking for me. This is great. And then they bring around some cakes in the afternoon and you're like, well, may as well. It's right here.
Maybe we're in the wrong industry.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's where we make our money back.
Yeah. So the catering is amazing on those shows. So yeah, they try just to do the 10 hours, but it doesn't always eventuate. It just depends because if there's drama happening right on that 10-hour mark, we can't just go,
That's a wrap.
quick, that's a wrap. Let's bring this back again tomorrow because
Yeah.
by that emotions have changed again by the next day. So keeping in mind that these days they cost a lot of money in filming, so we just need to get the best that we can in those days.
Well, there's a bit of a perception out there, especially for the shows that are filmed in a jungle or a desert or somewhere remote, that the producers have it all cushy. They go away at night and they go to their 5-star hotel
Yeah.
and live the life. But you were telling us off air about another project where you'll be sleeping in a swag for.
I know. I only just found this out this week, so I am. I'm doing. I'm very excited about this one actually, and it's basically going to be filmed all around Australia. So we're going to be going to Ayers Rock from June. So that's winter, right? Apparently
Yeah,
it's
that'd be
-2
freezing.
degrees
Oh,
at night time
yeah,
out there.
Of course.
We'll be going to Cape York. We'll be going to Simpsons Desert. We'll be going to Fraser, Morden, basically everywhere that's cool around Australia. And I just found out that I'll be sleeping in a swag.
Wow.
While the cast members are in $500,000 vans. So,
How does that make sense?
Wow.
well, the cast members, we've got to look after them.
Yeah.
So,
You're the one producing it and making it look good. You know, you need to be
I
well kept
know.
and get a good sleep.
I know. Whether I'll be sleeping at all in the red dirt in Ayers
Yeah.
Rock
Oh my God.
in -2, I don't know. Hopefully I'll survive.
Have you worked on Survivor? I know we mentioned Survivor. Have you worked on Survivor?
I've done casting.
Oh,
for
you've done
Survivor.
casting, okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So I was just going to say, like, we bring that up around. You see, or, well, we don't know what's real and what's not, but is that typically what happens? Those that are working on the show
Yeah.
are staying in a nicer place than those, say, or is that just
so,
something?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, to a degree. So the crew generally stay in hotels or something that's nearby. However, saying that, we have what we call shooter producers. So shooter producers are those people who are on the ground, bless their cotton socks. They get paid good money though. They do get paid good money and they just have to stay with the cast all the time. So they would be the ones who one night would be sleeping over, obviously also on a mat on the floor with the Survivor cast or on Hunted, for example.
Yeah.
If the fugitives are, in a park somewhere, so is the shooter producer. We can't leave them at any time. So it just depends.
We asked you earlier about some of the great concepts of reality TV. Flipping that question a little bit, not saying that you've worked on them at all. Maybe you've even heard of projects that never even came through. But have you ever heard of some real, or seen overseas even, like rubbish reality TV show ideas that you just think this is ridiculous?
100%.
Could you share a couple?
There's
The
this
concepts?
one show in America. I don't even know what it's called. But it's basically where people go to storage sheds and storage sheds that people have just abandoned and they have auctions.
Yeah.
So they'll open up the storage shed and like there'll be maybe 4 couples there and they'll be like, they'll have a look around, but they can't actually see what's in there. They can just kind of look from afar and they'll be like, yeah, this is going to be worth a lot. I'm going to bid on this for like $10,000. And then they have an auction, a bidding, and after they've won, if they win the bid, then they go through the storage shed and see what they've actually got.
That sounds
And
interesting to me.
I like the concept, but not
It's
as
a
a
YouTube-
show.
it's a YouTube-
Yeah,
that's a
it's not a
YouTube,
TV
yeah.
show.
It's a TV show that
shouldn't
goes
be.
berserk in
Yeah.
America. People love it. I
so
think
it's
it's called.
actually-
It's a TV show. Yeah,
Wow.
I think it might be called like Storage Kings or something. I don't know. I don't know what it's
I
called.
do, because I think of that. I'm like, you could find something in one of those sheds that's worth
Yeah.
heaps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You're
I'm sure
gambling.
you're gambling though.
Yeah.
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 I can guarantee though, people who know of me and they know that I'm in the industry, and maybe I've gone to an event like a girls' business event and they're like, they might follow me on Instagram or something. I get all the time, oh my God, Jodie, I have got the best idea. Can I just sit down and talk to you for a moment? And I'm like, okay.
Go on.
Sure.
They
give
get
it
their
to
phone
me.
up with their notes and, you know.
Give it to me. And they're like, what if we had a camera following me all the time?
It's always them.
Because I am super funny. This is what's happening in my life at the moment. And you kind of feel like going, hey, that's a great idea, but not one that I'm willing to put my time into right now. But, if you think that you've got, I just try and give them the tools of what they need to do to be able to pitch that for funding or whatnot. Yeah.
So being a part of TV has kind of been a key element of your career from the start. So can we maybe go back to your earlier years when you first started as a presenter on TV?
Yeah. So I started off doing kids TV. I started doing a show called the Pookie Doos.
The Pookie Doos.
Yeah.
What channel was
like
that?
ABC.
Oh.
But you know what? Even to this day, do you know what I want to be one day?
What's that?
I want to be on Play School. The end.
Yeah.
That's my dream job. I just want to read a book to some kids, and I want to play with Jemima, and I want to make some Play-Doh.
Jemima's still going.
Jemima will
Jemima
never
must
die.
be, geez.
Big Ted, Little Ted,
Yeah,
and Jemima.
wow.
I tell you what, I think there's probably been a few versions of Jemima.
Well, that show's just gone forever. And
it has.
And it is. It's almost a bucket list now, like for a cameo for certain people. People want to go on that show.
Yeah. They're very diverse now when it comes to ABC, so they make sure that they are employing everyone for that role.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great. It's great. But that's what I want to do one day. But yes, I did start off singing and dancing with a big purple dog called Woof Woof. I know.
Does that ring a bell?
Pookie Doos don't ring a bell to me, but maybe if I saw it.
It was lots
And
of fun.
you were
I got
18, were you?
Yeah. So I was
Wow.
18. I got to travel around Australia doing live shows, and it was lots of fun.
Well, how does that even come about? Because, again, for an 18-year-old with probably no experience or little... How do you...
I auditioned for it. So I think I always grew up. I used to go to a place called Fame Talent Agency, which was singing, dancing, acting up in Brisbane. It was quite large, and there's been some massive people that have come from it, such as Josh Lawson, who's in Mortal Kombat, the Veronicas, so Jess and Lisa Araglasso,
Really?
Shane Jennick, who's Courtney Act. So these are all my tribe from back in the day. We all kind of went to Fame Talent Agency together. And so I just auditioned for Pookie Doos and I got that, and then it kind of evolved. Then I got roles on The Shack, which was filmed at Dreamworld, and I also got some stuff on Totally Wild as well.
Yes.
So basically I just continued down that track.
How's the nostalgia now?
I know. Totally wild.
Some of those shows.
Now everyone knows how old I am. Such a long time ago.
Oh, Jodie, it's time now for our sponsored segment by our good friends at Golf Box. So, Golf Box, what's in the Golf Box is brought to you by Golf Box, Australia's greatest golf superstore. If you need it, they have it, and it gets to you fast and free. Head to golfbox.com.au. Jodie, do you play golf by any chance?
Look, I went to Top Golf once.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. I wasn't any good at it.
Top Golf is good fun. I went there once last year for a Bucks party and had the best day. It was never been. Have you been to like a massive driver range like that before?
No, I haven't, but I'd love to.
Good
Now
fun.
that the old hernia's been fixed, I'm looking forward to hitting the golf course again.
That's a whole topic on
That
its own.
Yeah, I know.
absolutely is. It's been covered many times on this show. But yeah, the golf box. So the famous golf box, the infamous golf box. It's quite humble, as you can see.
I can
it's
see.
and we
I can see
we
that.
like the fact it's got a bit of wear and tear now.
Yeah.
It follows us around the country
Love it.
up to the Gold Coast today. So in there, and the regular listeners and viewers will know this, there are a bunch of questions and challenges. All you have to do is pull one out, read the question or challenge to us, complete it, and then we might have a nice little prize for you.
Oh, gosh.
So,
I'm scared for so many reasons. All
Jodie
right.
Burden, what's in the golf box?
What's in the golf box? Okay. What's the most awkward encounter with somebody famous?
Isn't that a good one?
It's a good one for
That's
Jodie.
very good. Do you have any fangirling moments?
You know what? I actually don't.
You're
And
cool
you know what?
cucumber.
I think it's just like I've worked at the Logies, so I've worked with a lot of them. Actually, no, I lie.
Oh, here we
There
go.
we go.
It always
100%
takes 30
lie.
seconds.
How did I forget? Okay, so as I said, I've worked with a lot of people in TV, and I don't fangirl generally at all. At the Logies, And the one person who I wouldn't, now it's not a crush, but like a deep found respect for
Oh, that's very nicely put.
is Ray Mia, which is Elf Stewart off of Home and Away.
Okay. Okay.
So awkward. So awkward. Okay. So I don't have a crush. Well, maybe I have a little bit of a crush. I don't know. All I'm saying is he's the only person that I fangirl over.
Yeah.
I'd been working with them all night. And then at the after party, I remember having a few drinks. And as he was leaving with Emily Simons. And Emily's come and given me a hug and gone, "Oh, Jodie, thanks for everything tonight. You've been amazing." I'm like, "Thanks, Emily." And then Ray just like gave me one of these ones.
Oh,
And
you wanted
then-
a hug.
And then I kind of went in for a bit of a hug, but he didn't. And I was like, this is awkward. And then as he was walking away, I'm like, "I love you, Ray." And it was like this deep, demonic voice that came out
Yeah.
of nowhere. I didn't even realize that I'd done it.
Oh
and he
my
like
God.
stopped and looked back with Emily and she's like patting him on the back and went, "Isn't that nice, Ray? Isn't that nice?"
I'll drive you home now.
And he continued to walk off and I'm like, why did that happen?
Oh.
Why did that happen? And you know what's bizarre? There's actually a place here on the Gold Coast called Rosella's Restaurant. It's in James Street at Burleigh. And they have got their toilet in there. I went to the toilet. It is Elf Stewart, like all over the toilet, like just
Like
Elf
pictures
Stewart.
of him.
Yes.
What?
That's a bit bizarre.
All through
In
the
the
toilet.
women's toilet.
I tell you what, I got in there and I'm like,
Maybe you're not the only one who's fangirling.
Yeah, I'm like, is this actually happening? Like, how is Ray right here in the toilet? Like, I couldn't even pee because I was just sitting there, just like, well, now he's watching me. I can't go to the toilet. Like, this is awkward.
that
so, yeah.
sucks. Alf. Oh, did you watch much Home and Away? growing
No,
up?
I didn't.
Really?
No, I didn't. You?
Yeah, we watched it every week. And sometimes now, like, you'll put it on and it's can't watch it anymore. But back in the day, it was the one show that the family sat down and watched
Really?
every night.
Back
Yeah.
in the day, I haven't watched it in a very long
Yeah,
time.
same.
But the same thing. Like, I grew up watching it. So
Yeah.
I don't know why. Like, Elf's just
That's
like...
a great story, Jodie. I love that.
Awkward.
Well, there is a prize for you, but we might hold the prizes just till the end because you'll definitely walk away. But we've got a bit of a prize pack for you, so we'll
Exciting.
save that just for a few more minutes. But I was going to ask you as well.
I'll actually grab the box off you.
Yeah,
There
let's
you
get the
go.
box.
Jodie.
Take care of the box. Needs some care.
Take care of the box.
In terms of reality TV, I was just going to ask this earlier, and I just wanted to bring it up. Where do you think when did it originate? Like, is it through game shows? Is that how it kind of started and kind of morphed into?
I think 100%.
Yeah.
It used to start off with game shows, and then it's just become more and more. I think the biggest one that started it was America Big Brother.
Yeah, I was going to ask if that was it.
Yeah. So it was USA Big Brother.
Australian Idol or American Idol, and that was around the
Then
same
we
time?
started, exactly. It started
Yeah.
evolving into talent shows.
Okay.
So you think you can dance and American Idol.
So you
and
think you can dance.
Oh,
I
do you
forgot
remember
about
that? I
that
loved
show.
that show. I loved it so
forgot
much.
about
I'm
that
actually
too.
cringing thinking about it. Like, so you think you can dance? Like,
Yeah. Yes, you just sang it.
Yeah,
You
I know.
sang it a little bit. So
I
you think you
did.
can dance. Yeah. So yeah, that's where it eventuated from. And you know what's funny? Though all the game shows kind of went away for a little while there.
Yeah.
They are all coming back.
They are, aren't they?
So last year, it came back. Well, we started getting the casting briefs for Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
someone
I went on
missed
that.
out on that.
Yeah.
Another one. Did you go on it?
Yeah, I applied and we got on, but we didn't get picked. So we were on the old suitcases. So.
What suitcase did you pick? What number?
I was number 12.
And
my
what- how
sister was
much-
11.
how
And
much-
she went first. She got, and then she said, I think I've got 50 cents. She got it. So she won, I think,
Oh.
$250.
She got it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't win anything. But the bloke who was doing it, like the bloke who got picked for our one, he won $70. Like,
Yeah.
imagine
Wow.
going on and thinking you might win 50 grand.
Sorry for the spoilers at home.
Yeah.
Actually, we might have to cut that out. I might actually get. I actually am not allowed to say that.
I'm sure that you haven't given it anyway.
You didn't say his
Well,
name,
I was
it's
asked
fine.
you, and I'll ask you both actually. If you could pick a reality TV show to go on and be
Oh.
a star of, even back in yesteryear,
Yeah.
even early 2000s or whatever, what are you picking?
I'm going to go with Gogglebox.
Gogglebox.
Yeah, you know what?
Yeah.
Like, I've worked on Gogglebox. It's fun if I can just sit there, drink some wine, watch some TV with my best friends and get paid for it.
Talk some
Makes sense.
talk some shit.
Yeah, that would be the one that I
Yeah.
would choose.
What
yeah.
are you picking, Dos?
I reckon I'd go Survivor.
Survivor.
Like to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
How would
reckon.
you go? How'd you go?
Oh, no, I don't know. I think I would struggle.
You were
like,
keen on the
'cause
block at one stage, weren't you?
Oh yeah, that was a while. No, the only thing I would struggle with Survivor is having to lie. Like you have to be a good liar.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of all the challenges. Like they just look so fun. Like all the different challenges, the physical challenges and things.
Yeah.
But having to bluff and like having to,
talk your way out of it and lie to people's faces. I don't think I'd be very good at that. So I'd probably be off in a week,
Yeah.
I reckon.
It'd
What
be
would you
tough.
go?
I reckon I'd go after watching. So a mutual connection friend of ours was on it last year, Big Brother. So
Yeah.
first time I never watched it as a kid. Ever watched it? I think we were banned by the parents because it was all.
I used to love
Turkey
trying to
slapping
stay up
internet.
for.
All
Big
I
Brother
remember
Uncut.
is finding out that you can use electric toothbrushes for something else
Oh,
back in those days.
wow.
There
I
you
was
go.
like,
That would have been
so
a very that probably upped the sales back then. Yeah, but like you, I didn't
Oh,
realize
we used to try and stay up for Big Brother Uncut.
Yeah. See some.
Yeah.
But that whole game aspect of having to lie and deceive a little bit too, I didn't realize it was such a big part of the game. And I'm like, I thought you could just go in there and be a good person and work your way through. But I'm like, you got to be a double agent.
Yeah, that's the old version. The old version was just go in there, just chill out, have
Have fun.
fun, and just choose the person who's most likable.
Yeah.
Really, whereas now it's very Survivor-esque.
Yes.
It's got that in there. And then I think last year, I haven't worked on Big Brother, so I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure they made it like a coupling thing.
They did. Yeah.
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
It's more
more.
of a
It was
dating.
more. Yeah. Because I remember the good old days of Friday night games. Do you remember that?
Yes.
That's what-
Mike
yeah.
Goldman.
Yeah, Mike
Yeah.
Goldman.
Yeah. That brought a whole new element to it.
And I don't know, have you worked on any of those other game show style shows, like the Australia's Got Talent or any of those?
No.
Yeah, because one thing I'm definitely interested in, you might know a bit about, I don't know, but the actual voting system when it comes to these shows.
True.
Because you hear things like when people, especially when celebrities, if it's I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, or they probably have contracts where they have to stay on for a certain amount of days.
Yep.
They have to get paid, otherwise they don't want to do it. Like, how legitimate do you think the voting is in some of these shows? I mean, back in the day, we used to love voting on Australian Idol.
Yeah.
We'd be voting all
We
the
were
time.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's extremely legitimate.
Yeah.
As in the voting when it comes
It
from the
counts.
audiences. I know for when it comes to I'm a celeb, then
Yeah.
definitely it's definitely counted. And I think I'm a celeb. The reason why you just said that, like they only get paid after a certain amount of days, it's so that they're not there for 2 days and then they're like, I'm a celeb, get me out of here.
Yeah.
So if they get voted out in a certain amount of time, that's fine. They still get paid. But it's just if they can't hack it and they get out before,
Oh, that's okay.
Who was
Yeah.
that? There was
No.
someone. No. There was someone else not that long ago, like a few years ago, that went in for like 2 days. Bernard Tomic.
Yeah.
He lasted like 2 days.
Oh, he didn't need the money anyway,
No,
did he?
Yeah. It's just another reminder of who he is. Do you have any more burning questions for Jodie before we let her go?
No, I think I've covered
good
it.
has this
My
been?
obsession with the reality TV.
It's actually triggered me to realise how much reality TV I actually have consumed over the years.
Yeah.
As we keep bringing up all these names, but this has been so cool, Jodie.
Thank you.
It's been really interesting to hear about your story and obviously life on the other side of the camera. But we, of course, will not let you go without a prize pack. So what is Jodie going home
So
with
golf
today?
box, they've given you $250 golf box voucher.
Oh, cool.
So if it's not golf clubs, they've got plenty of accessories, lots
Clothes.
of golf clothing as well.
Yeah.
I need some golf clothing
Perfect.
in my
Nice
life.
shoes.
I'll need to take that when I go to Ayers Rock.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's right.
And then our major partner, Fleet Plant Hire, they're giving you they're an earth moving company, but they love golf, so they've actually created their own golf accessories. So you've got this is a full golf pack,
I
isn't
know,
it?
it's really
You know what? My boyfriend's going to be so excited.
Perfect. There you go. But you'll get some not golf clubs, golf towel, golf glove, golf tees, golf balls,
golf socks.
golf socks as well.
Bit of everything.
Bit of everything.
Bit of extra warmth in the desert for you, hopefully. And
I
a
am
nice
so
towel.
excited. I'm going to rock up at Ayers Rock with my whole golf accessories.
Brought to you by Fleet Plan Hire. They'll love that. So, Well, thank you so much, Jodie. We really appreciate it. How do we find you on socials?
So I'm just at Jodie_Burden on Instagram.
Beautiful.
Thanks so much, Jodie.
Thanks, guys. Bye.